it pains me when I have to do these type of stories because this just shows without the shadow of a doubt that black men in this establishment are some of the most hated people in and relatively speaking outside of the establishment as well. But I'm only speaking for the US because that's where I live. So this man's name is Patrick Prince, and he just received a $9 million settlement after he spent 22 years in prison because a deletion was pinned on him by a cop that was married to the judge, over pretty much, I think, overseeing his case. I wish I can say this shocks me or surprises me, but it doesn't. Because it seems like every time a story about a black man getting out of jail or some kind of settlement after spending years behind bars is behind something he did not do. This guy lost 22 years. That is 2 decades of his life behind something he did not do because of these crooked cops and judges. Law and order my ass. This article was posted on Atlanta Black Star on September 28th, 2022. Chicago will pay $9 million to a man who spent nearly 23 years in prison and faced the death penalty for a crime he says he did not commit. Patrick Prince said he confessed to another man's murder and attempted robbery at 19 after being slapped in the face, kicked, and punched by retired Chicago police detective Kristen Cato, who was married to a criminal county judge. Now listen to that. This guy was literally abused and assaulted into a confession by this dirty cop. He was beaten into a confession for a crime he did not commit. He was only 19. That means he spent all of his 20s and all of his 30s behind bars with the potential that he could have gone and got the lethal injection, the lethal cocktail, as I call it. He is very lucky they did not decide to pull the plug on him earlier. Otherwise, an innocent man would have been sentenced to, would have died. Prince is one of 8 cases where people have accused Cato of using violence and intimidation to get a false confession. And I'm willing to bet most of them look like him, if not all. The Chicago City Council agreed to give Prince the settlement award on September 21st. Prince's case went to trial in 1994. The state initially sought the death penalty, but he was convicted on August 24th, 1994, and sentenced to 60 years in prison for murder and 25 concurrent years for armed robbery. Prince fought his conviction for several years, even without an attorney at times, the National Registry of Exoneration shows. In April 2017, a Cook County Circuit Court judge granted Prince's petition he filed in 2014 for a new trial. Local prosecutors dismissed the charges the following month. This is a case that arose during the times, thinking, sentiments, customs, and practices of the 1990s. Circuit Court Judge Thaddeus Wilson said upon granting the petition, petitioner Prince was just 19 years old. There were no eyewitnesses of the actual shooting that testified at trial. No physical evidence connected the Prince to the crime. No forensic evidence connects Prince to the crime. The only evidence against Prince was his confession. Police said they received a tip that Prince killed Edward Porter in August 1991, and he had been going around robbing drug dealers and their customers. The tipster told police Porter was on the west side of Chicago buying drugs when Prince tried to rob him. Porter refused to submit, and Prince shot him, the caller said. However, a witness gave a description of the lone gunman that matched Javon Linson. Linson was near the scene, but he was questioned and released. Prince had asked a judge during his pretrial hearing to suppress his confession. He testified that Cato barged into his girlfriend's house, pulled him from his bed with his gun drawn, and took him to the police station where he beat the confession out of him. Cato said another man, Jeffrey Williams, confessed to giving him the murder weapon. Cato denied the allegations during the pretrial hearing. He said he took Prince to the station as a witness and pointed him to Williams. He left Prince at the station twice to look for Williams, and when he returned the second time, Prince confessed. The judge denied Prince and Williams' request to suppress their confessions. Court records show that the defense never called Prince's girlfriend to the stand. Prince's conviction was decided without a jury and rested on his confession. Several witnesses testified that Prince was not the culprit, the National Registry of Exoneration notes. One man testified that he saw Prince walk up to the scene to look at the body while he was leaving. Prince asked him what happened, and then both men walked away in opposite directions. Two witnesses in Prince's 2014 petition identified the shooter as Linson. The other man died in 2006. Keith Gunn admitted that he was the tipster who linked Prince to the crime. Gunn said under oath that he wanted to, quote unquote, get back at Prince for, quote unquote, stealing a woman he liked. Are you kidding me? Wow. That is some grimy-ish. Let me read that again. It says Keith Gunn admitted that he was the tipster who linked Prince to the crime. Gunn said under oath that he wanted to get back at Prince for, quote unquote, stealing a woman he liked. So you sent an innocent man to prison over some snatch? This guy deserves to be simp of the century. This guy right here in this picture got railroaded at every angle, but this one right here, I was not expecting. I'm thinking I'm going to really be going in on this cop, but now I want to go in on this Keith Gunn. That is some wild stuff right there. He said he thought the police would just harass him and never thought he would be charged with the crime. They need to lock him up because after all, he did commit perjury. And he lied on that stand. The petition also concluded allegations from 30 people that Cato violently forced to confess to crimes, including a mentally challenged man who spent 11 years in prison for violations before he was cleared and freed in 2013. Prince received a certificate of innocence from Illinois in 2018, and the state compensated him more than $226,500. He filed the lawsuit the same year. The Chicago City Council agreed to pay a total of $25 million to Prince and two other people last Wednesday, including a $15 million settlement to the family of a civilian killed during a high-speed chase in 2020. Chicago officials said the city could have doled up to $25 million to Prince alone if the case had gone to trial. They probably glad that it didn't, knowing they don't have to pay him that much. Mr. Prince claims he confessed only as a result of physical and psychological abuse during his interrogation, said Jessica Felker of the city law department. The cop who did this to this man is trash. The judge he was married to or is married to, trash. That Keith Gunn is virile trash. That part got me right there. Y'all can tell by my voice. I did not expect to read that. Over a girl that he allegedly, quote unquote, stole from you, and this was your way of trying to get back at him, is to get on that stand and lie. I'm like, did you not know that this guy was up for a murder charge, amongst other things, but the murder charge being the heaviest one? That lie right there is what helped send him to prison over some girl that I'm sure you probably didn't even get back with. And he most likely didn't even steal. She might not have even been interested in this guy, in him like that. That is crazy. Like, this guy literally got, like I said, got railroaded at every angle. He got beaten to a confession. This Keith Gunn person lied on the stand because of some girl. The person who did the beating was married to a judge, most likely proceeding over this case. And he lost 22 years of his life. 22 years. And all he gonna get out the deal is $9 million measly dollars, if he even gets all of it. But this is a common story for black men in America that they keep trying to shield and say doesn't exist. What other group can you think of where this happens to them? Or should I say happens to us? Because I can't name one. I really can't. And I can think long and hard, but none will come to mind. I hope that wherever this guy is right now, that, you know, he's in the comfort of his family, because that's exactly who he needs right now is his family, because that is crazy. And see, that's the thing. Whenever they try to look for a suspect in a particular situation such as this, any black man will do. Even if they don't fit the description. A lot of, hell, even times there's been stories I've come across, whether I've done them or not, where they have sentenced black men in prison while they were in search of a PC suspect. Like I said, any black man will do, no matter what. No matter what the crime, no matter how big or small it is. But if it's big, oh, they're going to go for it. This man literally has been living in hell since 1994. And it's crazy because once he got back out into the world, the systemic racism and oppression doesn't end. He just went from one prison into another. It's like, how do you function like that? Yeah, the 9 million is nice, but it doesn't bring back the time that he lost. That's 22 years. That's a long time. That is a very long time. Especially, I'm sure, like in prison years. Imagine you have to be in that same area for minutes, for seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years. 22 years. Because a confession had to be beaten out of you. I just wish that, you know, if I was one of them people that can go back in time and like stop certain things from happening, I would just sit there and tell them, no matter what they do not confess to this crime. Do not say that you did it and you know that you didn't, because they're going to use that against you in a court of law. And that's exactly what they did. Even though it even came out that many people have said that this cop has been known to use this kind of tactic in order to get confessions out of people, and several people have gotten locked up behind it. They even gave an example right there in the story of the same cop doing the same thing. And I'm sure nothing happened to him. And I'm sure nothing happened to that judge. That was a conflict of interest right there. But they don't care, because it's their system. They can do what they want, and they will do what they want, and they will continue to do so. Man, this story just blew me. That Keith Gunn guy, man, listen, that one almost made me want to jump through the screen. As y'all can see, whenever I drop my phone when I'm reading an article at the risk of losing my spot of reading, you know that had hit me hard. And that one got me. But I hope that this guy is doing well. You know, hopefully he can try to piece his life back together, because, you know, he's, like I said, he went in when he was 19. 22 years, he's in his early 40s now. It's just crazy. It's very disheartening, to say the least. But y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. Click the bell twice to receive the notifications. If the notifications doesn't work, I upload my videos Premiere style. You can click the notification button to receive it, just in case the bell does not work. The links will be in the description. I'll talk to you in the next one.